pentatonic scale can be really important to you as a bass player. You can construct great sounding fills and riffs from the pentatonic scale. But there's no point just learning the pentatonic scale and expecting that to improve your bass playing. So in this lesson I'm going to show you 5 great sounding fills that are based on notes from the pentatonic scale. I'm also going to show you how to use these fills in a chord sequence. This video lesson is a request from one of you, and I'm always happy to take suggestions on areas that you want to work on. You can let me know by leaving a comment below this video lesson, or you can get in touch via the contact page of my website gbshed.com. First of all, in this lesson I'm going to show you how to play a major pentatonic scale, and I'll show you starting on G. Penta means 5 and tonic means the keynote or the root or the first note of the scale. So this means that a pentatonic scale is a scale that has 5 notes based on the root. In this case the root note is G, and we've actually got 6 notes, but the last note is the same as the first note, just an octave higher. So we've got G, A, B, D, E, and back to G again. Initially it's a good idea just to learn this scale over 1 octave until you're really comfortable with that pattern. This is the fretboard shape for the major pentatonic, and I've put this diagram on a PDF with the rest of the scales and exercises that you'll cover throughout this lesson. You can get a free copy of that PDF by clicking the link in the description below this video. Once you know this shape, then start learning where to find these 5 notes over the whole fretboard. Fretboard knowledge is the basis of playing bass guitar, and the more you know about the fretboard, the better you'll become. It's also useful to try this shape starting on different roots, then you'll be able to construct pentatonic fills in any key. Now try this 1 octave major pentatonic scale an octave higher. So we'll start on G on the 10th fret of the A string, and we just play the same pattern again. And this will give you a really good area to aim for when you're playing a fill, because it's quite nice to be playing down this end of the bass and then play a fill up high. I'll now play you G major pentatonic 2 octaves. You've got a few options of what fingering to use and where you can play this scale, so experiment yourself. You could play it here as well. Shift to the G. So try and play that in different places yourself. Again, I've written this all down on the PDF, and that's got tab and standard notation, and you can get that by clicking the link below. If you need a few exercises to help you with fretboard knowledge in general, then if you click on the link here, this will take you to another one of my lessons. I'll now show you the first 3 pentatonic riffs, and these are all based on the major pentatonic scale. I'll show you all the riffs in this lesson in G, so it's easy for me to explain about the scales, but obviously you can try them in any key, and keep watching the video all the way through because I'll show you how to transpose these fills. This first fill is a fairly basic fill that starts on the 3rd note of the pentatonic. So we start on the B here. And we can take that from the 2 octave G major pentatonic, so. And if you remember, it carries on. So we start with that B there. And we do a slide up. So B, A, G, E, A. This second fill only uses notes from the 1 octave major pentatonic. So if you remember with this shape here, we've got these notes. But the first few notes are 16th notes with a hammer on. So we've got A with your first finger, hammer onto B, and then D. E, G, E, D, B, A, G. So you just really have to remember this box shape. You start on the G there and then shift along with your first finger. Got that kind of shape there. So back to G again. This third fill starts on the 5th note of the pentatonic, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we start on E. We've got a slide on the E, the first note, and I play these slides short and quickly, so really just a short slide there. And we've got E, G, G, E, A, G, E, back down to G. So again, we're just in that box shape. To give you some context with these fills, I'm now going to play them within a chord sequence. And that chord sequence is a bar of G, a bar of D, and 2 bars of C. Now that chord progression is from Knocking on Heaven's Door, and you might recognise that first fill from the Clapton version of Knocking on Heaven's Door. This chord progression is in G, so the G major pentatonic will work over the whole progression. Hopefully that gave you a bit of an idea of how these fills sound within a chord sequence. So you probably wouldn't play a different fill at the end of every 4 bars, but I just put those in just to show you these 3 fills. We have both major and minor pentatonic scales. And the minor pentatonic scales sound good over minor chords, and the major and sometimes minor pentatonic scales sound good over major chords. These are just general guides with the scales, and as usual, use your ear as to what sounds good and what doesn't sound good. If you try a note and you notice that it clashes and you don't like that, then just don't use that note. We'll now look at a minor pentatonic scale, again starting on G. This is the fretboard shape for the minor pentatonic scale. Again, you can also try this minor pentatonic an octave higher, so start from the 10th fret of the A string again. And we can also play this 2 octaves. We'll now look at the 4th and 5th fill, and these are based on a minor pentatonic. This 4th fill is constructed of the notes that we played when we played the G minor pentatonic an octave higher. But because we've got a hammer on and a pull off, we're going to play the 2nd note here. So the 8th fret of the D string. So we can play the scale like this instead of so we're going to play it in that position. We've got a slide again up to the 1st note, so we slide up to D, the 12th fret of the D string, and then F, C, and then we've got this hammer on and pull off, hammer on, pull off, down to G again. If you need any help with hammer-ons and pull-offs, then click the link here and that will take you to another one of my lessons. This fill uses a descending triplet pattern. Descending obviously means going down, and triplets are where we play 3 notes over 2. In this case we're playing 3 notes over 2 eighth notes, or 3 notes over 1 quarter note. So if this quarter notes, so it's that rhythm for the whole fill. The note choices are just from the 1 octave minor pentatonic that we played down here. But because we're going to slide down from the C to the B flat, we're going to play the B flat here again like we played up here. So we're going to play those 5 notes. So we're going to play it this way. We start with a G with a little finger on the 5th fret of the D string, triplet, triplet, and then slide. So So it's fairly fast when we play it up to speed. Now these techniques like slides, hammer-ons and pull-offs and triplets can add some interest to your fills. So when you're constructing your own fills, then try and put some of these techniques and rhythms in yourself. Practice all of these scales and these 5 fills and then see if you can use any of them in your own bass lines. Also try and construct some of your own fills out of these pentatonic scales. When you're doing that, try to start on notes other than the root. This will give more interest to your fills, and then you won't just be running up and down the scales, which is an easy trap to fall into. When adding pentatonic scales to your own bass lines, try and be creative and put some of your own ideas in. Try not to put these fills in all over the place. As a general rule, you could put a fill at the end of every 4 or 8 bars. You could have a couple of short fills that you have, ideas that you use, then you repeat them, and then maybe you could put 1 or 2 longer fills in throughout the bass line. And I suggest listening to other players that you like and see what fills they put in and how they use them. I'll now quickly talk to you about transposing. So if we look at riff number 3, so you remember it was, and that was based on a G major pentatonic. Now that's in G. If we wanted to do it on D, then all we have to do is take the whole shape and move it up to D. So if we start with our first finger on the 5th fret of the A string, D, so we've got this, that's the pattern on D, that's the major pentatonic. And when we looked at the original riff, it started on an E, which was the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was the 5th note of the pentatonic. So if we go to D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we know we start on that note. Okay, so see what note the fill starts on. Think about where your pentatonic shape is and then use that on different roots. So that would be a really good thing to do with these fills, try them in different keys. Well, hopefully I've given you a few ideas of pentatonic fills and also shown you how to use the pentatonic scale. I also have a lesson on pentatonic riffs that you might want to look at. You're ahead of the game now that you know the major and the minor pentatonic scales, but it still might be interesting to look at these pentatonic riffs as well. Remember to subscribe to Greg's Bass Shed here on YouTube by pressing the red subscribe button below, and you might also want to head over to my website gbshed.com. I've got a free giveaway when you sign up there, and I've also got loads more free bass resources. I've also got details of my bass beginner guide, which is an ebook, and that's on the products page of my website gbshed.com. And if you're wanting to know more about theory, or you're just a beginner wanting to know more about bass, then that beginner's guide will be perfect for you. I'll also leave a link for that along with the link for the PDF below this video in the description. Please like and share this video. This is Greg from Greg's Bass Shed. I'll see you in the next lesson.